Welcome to the overview of the deployment tools. In this lesson, I'll start out by covering how to create, manage, and apply images manually. Then we'll move into the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010 Update 1, good old MDT, and show you how to automate and compartmentalize your deployments so they're really easy to manage. Then I'll move into the Windows Deployment Service, WDS, and show you the differences between MDT and WDS. Lastly, we'll finish up with the System Center Configuration Manager, or you've probably heard it just called Config Manager now, and talk a bit about how all the products can be integrated together into Config Manager to give you a zero-touch installation. First, a 10,000-foot view of the deployment process itself. So we have a bare metal machine sitting there. We've just purchased it. We install an operating system. That'll be Windows 7. Installed any corporate approved applications. I really like the hybrid image idea. So get all your applications that are just corporate, that everyone's supposed to get, onto this image. Then we'll sysprep the image to scrub out all the uniquely identifying information. Step 2 is to capture an image of that machine. Well, there are lots of tools that will capture an image of a machine, starting with the Windows Automated Installation Kit's ImageX. Windows Deployment Service, or WDS, has its own capture utility, and MDT 2010 Update 1, yet again, has its own capture utility, which is actually a template that's built in. It's already there, just waiting for you to use it. And with Config Manager, you'll use MDT's built-in template as well. Now, once you have that image created, you can store that on a deployment server. Then, your target machines or destination machines can download the image from the deployment server. The tools you can use to create an image are the Windows Automated Installation Kit ImageX, which I just talked about. This allows you to install the operating system drivers onto that machine, applications, and packages. Packages internal to Microsoft are defined as either operating system patches or language packs. So that's what I'm referring to when I say packages. You can add those manually to a bare metal machine and then use ImageX to create an image. MDT, we've got that special sysprep and capture task sequence template that's created automatically for you. And WDS, we've got WDS's capture utility. It doesn't matter which method you use to create your images. The first thing you have to do after you get your machine all ready, you've got the operating system installed, applications, desktop settings configured, you then have to boot that computer into an alternate operating system. In the past, we used to boot it into a DOS machine that would boot the machine up and get it connected to the network. Now we use the Windows Pre-Installation Environment, or WinPE, for the DOS replacement. WinPE allows you to capture or deploy an image to a bare metal machine. This is what's going to boot us up and get us connected to the network. The Windows Automated Installation Kit allows you to create custom WinPEs. And what I mean by a custom WinPE is you can add special drivers for whatever hardware you're deploying the WinPE to. And you can also put certain types of applications, like troubleshooting applications, into your WinPE. Once you have your installations down exactly the way you want them to run and the way you want to answer all of the installation setup questions, it's time to automate it so it's done the exact same time every single time you perform an installation. Creating an answer file is now done by using Windows System Image Manager, or WSIM. This is also a tool that comes in the Windows Automated Installation Kit. Now, creating this answer file you'd think would be the exact same way, name the same thing, put in the same folder for every single tool. But you would be incorrect in that thought. It's different for each tool. So as I go through the tools later on, I'm going to explain to you what you have to name your automated unattended answer file and where you have to store it for that specific tool. Getting into the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2010 Update 1. We're at about a 5,000-foot view, just very high level. MDT allows you to perform light touch deployments. So there needs to be human intervention, if only to boot the computer. A human being has to do something to start the machine. MDT requires that the wake tools be installed. And one of the nice things about MDT is you can use thin images. It completely compartmentalizes drivers, applications, and packages from your operating system files. So it makes it really, really easy to manage your images later on. When using the MDT for deployment, you'll boot your clients using a custom MDT-generated WinPE. Now this is one that MDT creates for you. You don't have to do this on the side. It's automatically done for you. One of the nice benefits of MDT. One of the downfalls at this point is VHD image formats are not officially supported for deployment from MDT. Only WIM files are officially supported. You can integrate MDT with WDS if you'd like to provide Pixie Boot network booting capabilities for your MDT clients, which they don't have by default, or if you'd also like to multicast your images across the network instead of using unicast traffic. I'm going to explain all that when we get into MDT and WDS integration. With Windows Deployment Service, or WDS, again, you can perform light touch installation deployments only. But WDS uses thick images, which makes it really difficult to manage or change your images later on. The way you have to change your images is you have to export them out of the WDS snap-in, then you'll use the wake tools to manage them, and then import them back into WDS. So there's not an easy way to deploy applications by themselves. You really have to build them into the image. And then, as I stated earlier, it's much more difficult to change little things like the version of an application that exists inside of a thick image. A couple of nice features that WDS brings to the table is allowing your clients to network boot. So you don't have to take anything out to the desktop machine. You simply boot the machine up, perform a network boot. You've probably heard this called a Pixie boot. And you automatically connect to your WDS server. WDS supports both .wim and .vhd file formats officially. System Center Configuration Manager is the only Microsoft deployment tool that truly allows zero-touch installations. That's because you can set Config Manager up to offer Windows 7 to your end users, and they can choose to deploy whenever they like. But as of a certain day and time, this might be your project completion date and time, Windows 7 gets installed regardless of whether the user has initiated it or not. Being a ZTI environment, you could set this up to blast out Windows 7 to all of your machines or a subset of your machines at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and then come in and check them on Sunday before people get into the office. Now, SCCM or Config Manager requires Wake, which gets installed by default, MDT 2010 Update 1, and WDS if you want to integrate multicasting technology to deploy your images. Config Manager allows you to be as flexible as you want. You can set up thick, thin, or hybrid images. You can deploy applications, registry settings, anything you want can be deployed through Config Manager. What we covered in this lesson was creating, managing, and applying images manually at pretty much as high level as we could get. I gave you just a little bit of information about MDT, WDS, and Config Manager. Hopefully you can already see there are some drastic differences between these products and also some great benefits of integrating them together. I'll spend more time in each one of those lessons explaining how to integrate them and how to get the most robust deployment solution possible. And that wraps up the overview of the deployment tools.